President Donald Trump this week put the Keystone XL Pipeline back in play. Through a memorandum issued Tuesday, Trump gave another opportunity to TransCanada, the company behind the pipeline, to build the project in Nebraska and other states. A separate memorandum from the president requested a plan for using American materials and equipment to construct or fix pipelines in the U.S. Nebraska Extension Ag and Water Law Specialist Dave Aiken joined us Wednesday to explain what happens now after Trump's action this week.
Well, he basically is inviting TransCanada to reapply for a new permit, which he gave every indication that he would approve. He also is putting together a Made in America thing so that they can negotiate some American parts, higher level American parts, I would guess, in terms of the pipeline if it's ever built.
This is quite a change.
Well, yes. President Obama turned down the permit, a little over a year ago, so it's a 180-degree change.
What happens next year, Dave?
Well, they've got to, if they apply, they'll apply for the federal permit, and if they get the federal permit, they'll still need a state permit in Nebraska from the Public Service Commission so that they can exercise the right of condemnation on their right-of-way for the pipeline in Nebraska.
Now, Nebraska had already approved a route for the pipeline, correct?
That's right. Governor Heineman did that about 4 years ago, but the legislation upon which that approval was based is pretty suspect, and they're just going to need to start over and do a reset on it.
I'll ask here what the Public Service Commission does, and I think you've explained on here before, but for a refresher, can you explain what the PSC does? Sure.
They are in the Nebraska Constitution, and they handle a bunch of utility-related things like pipelines and high power lines and that type of thing.
Pipeline safety regulation?
No, that is done by the Federal Department of Transportation. Their regulations are pretty good, however, but the Public Service Commission will, of course, be able to look at the environmental impact of pipeline construction, and that is one of the big concerns.
How long do you think their permitting process will take?
It's supposed to be between 7 and 12 months from whenever TransCanada files their application.
Describe how that process will work.
Well, there will be a formal public hearing and then probably at least one or more public meetings where people will be able to come in and give their opinion for or against. And if TransCanada does apply, then the details about when those meetings would be and where would come out after that.
Do you think the pipeline will make it through this time?
Well, it depends on whether TransCanada tries to cut corners the way they did the first time around. If they understand they need to protect the aquifer and kind of bend over backwards to do that, then they have a very good chance of getting their state permit. If they try to cut corners and stuff, then it's going to be a little rocky.
There will be challenges to this coming, right?
Absolutely. Whoever is unhappy with whatever the Public Service Commission decides, he'll take it to court, and that's another year and a half plus for the appeals to run on that. So it's not going to be anytime soon.
When we talk about eminent domain and condemnation, what happens with the land that TransCanada has already agreed to use? What happens to the landowners there in compensation?
It depends on how the actual document is written. My expectation would be is that TransCanada cover themselves completely so that those are in force still. But if you have questions, consult your attorney.
Final question, is it a given, do you think, that TransCanada, when this happens, if it's a few years down the road even, will for sure do the pipeline?
It's really got to be iffy right now because oil prices are about half what they were in 2008 when this pipeline was originally proposed. And the tar sands oil is expensive oil. It's expensive to extract, it's expensive to process, and with oil prices where they are right now, it's hard to see how that would really pay. So we'll just kind of have to wait and see.